All right, we should be live. Yes, we are. Welcome. We're live tonight on this Thursday evening. Um, it is August 17th. It's 9:43 p.m. Central Time, where I'm at. And some of you, I'm in the beautiful Minnesota. In the summer, it's beautiful, spring and fall. But that 6 months of winter isn't fun. Anyway, my batteries just died on my remote, so anyway, I don't know if I've ever had that happen yet. Because, oh well, I'll get batteries later, I guess. I just never use that remote. It's for my monitor. And now I want to use it and it's dead. Anyway, I'll do that later. So welcome. We're going to be going over a review of some of the Canaanite gods. You know what I should have done here? I'm going to do that right now while I'm waiting for people to come in. I won't be waiting too long. We're going to start. There's a lot to cover. And if tonight's Thursday. If I don't cover them all tonight, let's see. No, we won't be able to do them all tonight. That's my dog. Oh, hey, look at this. Gotta show you something. Oh, come on. Oh, it's too late. Went off the camera. I took so long to get this thing on. I was gonna show you this giant spider on my camera, my security camera. It looks about 10 feet tall. All right, let me hook this up, and we're gonna get ready to go over a review of the Canaanite gods because we are wrapping that up. There he goes again. I missed him. But we're going to go over the Canaanite gods, kind of a review. We didn't go through, well, let's see, I don't know how many we went through. We went through some of them. And they do all overlap, but not, well, most of them, a lot of them, I should say, overlap with the 12 Olympian gods, with the Egyptian gods, with the Roman gods. They're all kind of I don't know, kind of spin-offs of each other, kind of, they just did notice that they're all kind of overlapping. You got a lot of them. It's like El and Yahweh and all those, and Baal. They just have lots of other ones that go with it. So I'm going to just see. We went through Hadad yesterday. Then Resbeth. I think it's spelled wrong on my thing. Resbeth. Excuse me. Resbeth. I don't think that's spelled right on my thumbnail over there. Yahweh. What else did we do? We did Mot. We did Moloch. Asherah. Baal. Or Baal, however you want to pronounce it. Baal. And we also did Dagon. Actually, first we did Dagon. We did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So let me see. So let me see my list here. Asherah we did. The mother goddess. Which the ancients believe that was God's wife. Let's see. Astron. Baal, we did Baal. Dagon. El. Well, yeah. Elyon. Oh, I could have sworn we did L. No, I guess we did Asho, which is the wife. Let me see here. I don't see one where we actually did L. Okay. Well, anyway, we're gonna go over those. Now, some of them we've already gone over. So there is what was the title? 24? What does it say my title? 24 Canaanite gods. And so we're gonna go over the ones we didn't cover, which is 24 minus 8, so that'd be 16. All right, anyway, so that is tonight. Tomorrow is Friday. Usually just do open chat on Friday. Sometimes, and I love playing Bible trivia, Bible Jeopardy. Depends. That's my dog underneath my feet here, stretching, trying to get more leg room, I guess, where my feet should be. So yeah, tomorrow it will just be open chat. I really like playing Bible trivia, and I like playing Bible Jeopardy, whatever version. But it's kind of like a exercise of the mind. Anyway, it's fun. I like it. So probably we'll do that tomorrow. On Friday. So for anybody wondering, okay, just writing down real quick the ones that we did. So we did Yahweh, and they could, like I said, a lot of them overlap. And Hadad. All right, so we're going to pull up my screen so I can have that on the side there. Mute. Okay. All right. So we are on the God Checker site. I like this site. They've been around 20 years, 2 decades. Let me get a book to prop this thing up so you can see it better. I'll turn the camera on here. I don't know if this reflects off of there. Well, hey, Grace. Oh, I certainly did enjoy this beautiful Minnesota day. It just can't be any better, man. What was it in the 70s? Yeah, it was a beautiful day. What a beautiful day. I worked outside again. Cleared some more trees. I learned a cool way to cut the tree down and just angle it way, way harder, and then cut the back of it. Take a chunk out, cut the back of it, and it follows the right way. Anyway, yeah, I'm almost done. The bigger ones are done. I'm just gonna do some little ones, and man, I can't even believe it. From a week ago, I had little woods next to my pole barn. Now it's a lot. It's just amazing. They weren't real big. Maybe the biggest ones were maybe like, I don't know, 6 inches across. Maybe a little bigger. Like any bigger, I'd have to get the chainsaw. A couple of them I cut up a little higher, and I'll have to get the chainsaw for the bottom. But anyway, it was awesome, man. I'm just so happy with all the work I got done. My body's feeling it, though. I'll be listening with busy hands. For some reason, Kitten wants her chicken, and she wants it now. She's so demanding. Yes, she is. Spoiled little princess. Yes, she wants chicken. I don't blame her. I don't blame her. Oh, you know what? Speaking of chicken, yesterday I had some chicken. I finally found some good General Tao or Sow or whatever you could TSO, that General Tao General Tao, whatever it's called. Some of that made, oh, it was so good. My dogs had chicken tonight, actually, or this afternoon. They had chicken and sweet potatoes and whatever else. Whatever else they had. They're really liking those sweet potatoes. I didn't know they liked them so much and how healthy they were, but I'm going to try to grow them next year. Potatoes are easy to grow, you guys. You let one sprout till there's a bunch of sprouts sticking all over it. This is regular potatoes anyway. Chop it in half. You got 2 plants right there. Drop them in the ground in a hole, and they just later on you just dig them up. It's like a surprise every time. See what see what's under the ground. Hopefully you don't have a gopher eating them like I did. Little turd. Bit the tops off of everything I had, including my potatoes. All that work will be well worth it. Yeah. 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 They love the sweet potatoes. So anyway, and they're so much better for them than the white potatoes or rice. Or dogs need carbs, vegetables, and meat. I believe it's good, healthy, and they really like the beef grease on their food. Anyway, so I'm gonna head on over here to God Checker, your guide to the gods. Actually, I'm going to actually put this link first of all before I head your guys' way. How is your garden going, Grace? I learned a lot this year. It's only really my third or fourth year of serious gardening up here, and I've learned a lot every year, and this year is no exception. I've learned a lot. Learned a lot. I got I'll put in a video, 3 huge things I learned this year. Really. This is the site, the God Checker site that I'm about to go on right now. We're gonna do a rundown on these. I think, because we've done all the gods, the Greek, the Roman, the Olympian. I mean, and the Egyptian, I should say. Oh, the work, yeah. Next to my barn, next to my pole barn, yeah. It already is. It's amazing. I couldn't even imagine that being a lot right there next to my pole barn. It's amazing. Fun, fun, fun. And now I can see my other buildings. Couldn't even see my other buildings before. Now, straight shot to my building. So that's really cool. Before even I'd forget there was buildings back there. I'm like, dang, that's a waste. I mean, I should be using that. Anyway, man, am I tired? Really just getting sleepy. I'm old and sleepy. All right. All right, where am I? All right. What kind of a thing is that? All right. Here we go. The Canaanite mythology. I'm going to show you this site. The link I just put up is, drum roll. It is this right here. It's called, I like this site. I think I've used it maybe a couple times, but I like it. It's 20 years old. I don't remember when they started, but anyway, it's a couple decades old. God Checker, your guide to the gods. Pantheons, fine gods. The God Checker. Anyway, that gets kind of short and sweet. And anyway, so we're gonna wrap up this. What was it? 2 weeks of whatever. I'm just drawing a blank because I'm so tired. 2 weeks of Canaanite gods. I'm trying to get this set up here. I have to move my keyboard here, and I think I can get a little closer. There we go. Is that better? I can see probably. Maybe you can read it with me. Canaanite mythology, the gods of ancient Canaan. Yeah, you can find a lot of stuff on this site. It's kind of cool. Short, sweet, like I said. Try to get a little closer. There we go. All right, so we're going to do a rundown on these Canaanite gods. We're going to wrap up this study of the Canaanite gods with a rundown on some. Like I said, some of them we did do already, but we're going to do a rundown anyway. We'll get a little bit closer. All right. All right, the Canaanite pantheon. The gods, goddesses, spirits, and legendary characters of Canaanite mythology. Now, I think we're going to get them all done tonight. If we don't, so what? We'll finish it tomorrow. No big deal. And but it is kind of cool to go through these because we just kind of, it'll kind of it'll be maybe a refresher of some of the ones that we've gone through this last 2 weeks because I don't barely remember them. I don't know about you. I was here every night reading them, and I still don't remember all of them. I really couldn't name them all, but I mean, I could tell if we done them or not, but I can't remember like what they're the god of each and every one. Some of them you can, but I don't have them all memorized. We'll do a little refresher course here. Canaanite pantheon. All right. Gods are often known by several names, and that's what we've definitely found that out with all this studying. We have tried to collect as many holy aliases as possible. I thought that said something else at first. Holy aliases as possible. For the full alphabetical list of alternative names, check out God Checker's list of Canaanite deity names. Like I said, they got a lot going on here. We got this whole thing that you can. There's the Find Gods thing, and anyway, they got this site's got a lot of stuff on it. And I put the link for this in the chat. All right, so we'll start with the list here. And there's 24 of them, I think, if I counted right. Anyway, Canaanite, and this course it doesn't cover all of them, but probably the main 24 or whatever. Yeah, anyway. Canaanite mythology. So we got Asherah. Now, I don't know if she was probably one of the first ones that we went over. Asherah, Canaanite mother goddess. Remember that? And that is probably what they think might be God's wife. All right. Or El, anyway. El's wife. That God. Anyway. Asherah, Canaanite mother goddess, also known as Athrat, and Elat. Mother goddess, El's wife. Remember those carvings that we saw from the pottery and all this from thousands of years ago with it had El, it had him sitting by something else, and there was a bull and the calves, and then it also had his wife, Asherah, sitting there. And so the ancient Canaanites for sure believed that God had a wife, and it was her Asherah, and maybe the ancient Israelites probably did too. And in fact, we show that there's references to all this in the Bible. Anyway, but she is Or was it 88? Oh, here, Mother Goddess, El's wife, and mom of 77 gods. And remember, those are the 77 gods, and each god was like appointed a section of earth. So, like, whatever. Or was it 88? She seems to have lost count. I remember it was 77 because there was like 77 yeah, 77 gods, and each one, I thought it was her children. Yeah. Anyway, or was it 88? She seems to have lost count, but no one has heard of most of them, so it probably doesn't matter. Known as She Who Walks Upon the Sea, Ashra is an important mother goddess and also the wife of top god El. She was obviously held in very high esteem by her many worshippers in biblical names. Wooden pillars erected in her honor were so numerous that even Yahweh himself felt a little threatened. These so-called Asherah poles, and you hear a lot about that in the Bible, in fact, in the Old Testament, anyway. In fact, when we did her, we had a picture of, I think it was King Hezekiah chopping the Asherah pole down. Anyway, lots of references to it. That even, okay, these so-called Asherah poles are mentioned several times in the Old Testament, usually accompanied by the words, thou shalt not bow down to them, have them, and all that other stuff. Despite her popularity, as usual with ancient Middle Eastern deities, there's a plenty of scope for confusion. All right, various spellings and religious changes of her name lead somewhere and nowhere. And we still don't know why she walks on the sea. So there's some little fun facts of her that we went over her. There might be a mosquito in here, I think. Might be a mosquito in here. All right. So anyway, that was Ashra. And we went over her, I think, last week. Astroni. This looks like an Italian dish. Getting hungry. Astrono. Either way. With some mozzarella on it. All right. Astrono. I don't know how to pronounce that. Astronoe? No? No. Canaanite bad luck goddess. Dun, dun, dun. I'll pull it up so you can see it. Asterone is a bad luck goddess. Oh no goddess. She causes some trouble. Ask Eshman about it. So sorry, this Astroni article is a bit short. They don't really have too much on this one. It is a female goddess that it's a goddess of bad luck and misfortune. I don't want to have nothing to do with that one. Baal. We did go over Baal. That was another probably one of the anyway, in the last 2 weeks we did. Yeah. Yep. Oh no, yep. You want to stay away from that one. Baal is a Canaanite war god. We did cover this one. This one of the ones, the storm god of war as the cloud monster. Cloud monster. Yeah, we did go this anyway. So from humble beginnings as a storm god, Hadad, and we went over Hadad also. I think that was like yesterday, the day before. From humble beginnings as a storm god, Hadad He grew to occupy top position in Canaanite pantheon, taking charge of war and heroic action adventure. His consort is Anath, later Astarte. No, we didn't do that one. It was on the list, so the goddess of fertility and sexuality. She's also his sister, but gods don't worry about that kind of thing. Baal enjoyed the top spot in the Middle East pantheon, and it was worshipped far and wide. As the word Baal simply means Lord, Baal, there were several other deities knocking around the place with this title, so sometimes it's not clear from ancient sources which lord is which, whether one deity or handful. Baal's reputation was irreversibly damaged when Jewish leaders took an exception to the cult of his worshippers, offering sacred prostitution in Palestine. Really? The temple had prostitutes. They littered the Bible with the anti-Baal message and took to calling him Beelzebub. Did we do Beelzebub, Lord of the Flies? Swing, brother, swing. Is he carrying a baseball bat? Oh, I missed it. Beelzebub. Didn't we do Lord of the Flies? Anyway, Beelzebub's Lord of the Flies. I swear we did the Beelzebub, but I don't see it on the list. In time, he became universally hated. Such is the power of the press. And now you know who to blame for everything from ice ages to global warming. Yes, the one in which I actually believe. But anyway, Baal. Oh, and we did Hadad, Baal Hadad. These are the Canaanites. Anyway, he's in charge of war and stuff like that. And then Dagon. Dagon's one of the first ones that we did. Dagon's cool. There's a fish god. And I was just thinking today, it's kind of cool because if you look at that map that I've pulled up before, the ancient map, the first city was in Sumer and all that, where the Garden of Eden is and all that. If you pull up that map, which we have a lot, I have it on my bookmarks, but if you pull that up, you can see where the different places originated. Of course, including this land, the Canaanite land, land of Canaan and Mesopotamia and all that. And you could see that, like, we've gone over. Well, hi Dee, how you doing tonight? Okay, good. Thanks for coming in. We glad to see you. So depending on like where you were, that was kind of the god of that area, you know what I mean? So if you like lived in the desert, you're gonna be praying to a god of rain and crops and stuff like that. You're gonna be raining. You're gonna be praying and worshiping a god that can bring you, rain and weather and something to eat. You sure as heck ain't going to be worshiping Dagon, the fish god of the sea, when there's not a sea around to be found. But on the other hand, if you're over by the Mediterranean over there, is that Syria? I can't remember. But anyway, over that way by Israel, if you're over that way in the land of Canaan, right? You're by the Mediterranean, yeah. You're and if you're in the promised land, the land of Canaan, which has got green grass and all kinds of fertile everything and great for growing, where you're not in the desert, you're praying to different kind of gods to fight wars and the gods for having children and whatever. So depending on where you are, influences kind of god you're going to be. So if you're on the Mediterranean, yeah, you might have this Dagon, the fish god, that's going to come up out of the sea up to the shore and grant your wish or whatever it did. I think it did something like that. Anyway, inventor of the Hebrew plow. Well, good for him, Mr. He's an inventor. Yeah, good to see you tonight. D. So Dagon, we did go over Dagon one night. I think it was the first one we went over. And by the way, this is where the Palestinians, were the Palestinians. They went and captured Samson, brought him back, and then they poked his eyes out, made him a slave, and all that stuff. And then, but this is where, so the Palestinians had him captive, and he knocked down the house of Dagon. That's where Samson died. He felt the pillars and he pushed them down, and all thousands of people died. He killed more people. Well, that was the closing line or whatever. He killed more people in that day than he did his whole life. Like, good for him. Anyway, but he anyway, that was in the house of Dagon. And Dagon, we went through that one night, and that's the fish god, and that's where your Catholics have the hat, the fish hat. What was it called? A mitre hat. They're like, no, it's not a fish. Yeah, it's a fish. It's a mitre hat. We know what it is. Anyway, so that was interesting. Dagon, the fish god. But so to me, it's like Samson tried to bring down the Catholic Church a long time ago. But anyway, so that's the one that Samson brought down, the Dagon, the Temple of Dagon. It's where they wear them. I think they were using them like for entertainment or something. I can't remember anyway. But that's where he said, I'm going to die with the Palestinians. Knocks the church down. That was in the house of Dagon. They're worshiping Dagon then. The Catholic mitre hat people. Anyway, the makers of the mitre hat. Before it plowed itself into becoming a plow anyway. Part of the ancient grain association, you may have once been a merman, considered Dagon. Or he may have been, and may have been. I'm sure what I just read there. But anyway, yeah, they do say he was like a grain god too. So, but anyway, of agriculture, farming. But yeah, the fish god. He was interesting. El, of course, the Canaanite. We're not going to go through that again because we did the heck out of that. But self-styled creator of all created things, the father of gods. El was like the top, and that was Asherah's husband, or him and Asherah. Canaanite godfather. He likes to remain aloof and inscrutable, sitting high on his throne, wearing his bull horn crown. He looks like a Viking, a Minnesota Viking. Anyway, so yeah, he was. We did him a lot. Yeah, actually, I'll read this part here. Elohim. There's a Hebrew scholars who believe El to be part of the Elohim, who fuse himself into one identity to become Eloah, the singular version, and this may have led to mono-god status and gotten him into the Old Testament under the name Yahweh. So it kind of all just fuses together, overlaps, as we know. Run into that a lot. Elyon. Again, overlapping. He's very old deity, caused a lot of controversy by popping up Old Testament, being mistaken for Yahweh. Even some of the great and the good of the Holy Bible appear to have been worshiping him instead of the proper God, whatever that might be. Anyway, so Elyon is the son of Baal, which, remember, that would happen to be also El, and is in charge of the springs of the water conservation. But he spends most of his time thrashing Mot. We did go over Mot, and two of them locked in some permanent life and death struggle. Elyon has 7 or 8 attendants, and they ride through the clouds on wild boars. This seems to be the usual mode of transport at the time and place. Well, who doesn't ride wild boars, right? Perhaps the old Melchizedek was impressed after all. I guess they got around on wild boars back then. That would be a good question to ask your friend Google. Who is the proper guy? Oh, yeah. Or somebody has Siri or something like that. Oh, speaking of that. So I was back cutting behind my pole barn in the woods where I'm out of a phone signal. I have no signal back there. And I was just cutting and I thought I'm going to cut. I counted and I thought I got 10 trees left and then I'm going to take a break. I'm going to do, and I said it out loud to myself. I said, well, I'm going to cut these 10 here and then I only got some small ones left. I said it out loud. Then I'm going to take a break. And my phone was out of service. I'm not even got a signal back there. My phone says, you're going to have to connect to the internet in order to do that, whatever. In order to do that, you're going to have to connect to the internet. I'm thinking, what in the hell? That was weird. I wasn't talking to the phone. In fact, I don't even have a signal back there. Anyway, good to know they're listening, even when I don't have a signal. All right, Elyon, Hadad. We did do the Hadad. We did go over that. In fact, that was one of the later ones that we did. Hadad, the Canaanite god of storms. Remember that one? Wandering Canaanite storm god known as the Crasher. And in fact, this one had some is this the one we had some of these gods are actually mentioned either by name or their nicknames. I can't remember if this is one of them, but their names and their nicknames, they are yeah. And or to take a break, yeah. I don't know if it was meaning because it was listening to me, so maybe it meant cutting the trees after connecting in or taking a break. I don't know. I was talking to myself out loud, kind of to the dogs. I'm like, well, I got 10 more trees and we're gonna take a break, and I'm got a couple little ones left. And you're gonna have to connect to the internet in order to do this or whatever, perform that task or something like that. I'm thinking, what the heck? I don't have a signal back there. Why would they listen? Anyway, so the storm Hadad was the Canaanite storm god. Unlike most storm gods who bellow, roar, and wield mighty thunder-generating weapons, Hadad causes thunder by stumbling around the sky and falling over things. How embarrassing. Still, he does not get a mention in the Old Testament under the name Rim. He does get a mention in the Old Testament under the name Rimmon. And over in Babylon, he was greatly respected under the name Adad. I think we just mentioned that. Adad. Well, in fact, when we went over Hadad, remember, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, when we went over Hadad, I said, wow, that's weird. They changed his name to from Hadad to Adad. Yeah, they just took the H off. I mean, look, they just took the H off. Adad. Anyway, nobody could tell the difference. And Moloch. Actually, we did go over Moloch too. That's that's that famous statue you see all the time with the big ugly thing sitting in a chair, and there's people handing the baby up to him, and there's like a fire in his lap. Human sacrifice god. Anyway, he is also known as Malcolm and Moloch. Miss Malcolm in the Middle. I don't know if that might be one of them, but yeah, he does have he always has the horns, but usually you'll see him in that big chair thing. In fact, when we did Moloch, I'd used it for the thumbnail. The typical picture you see him is people handing their babies up to him, a giant statue. Anyway, so malevolent sun god. He appears as an old man with ram's horns and a scythe. So he's got a curved knife, well, a scythe thing. Gets a mention in the Old Testament, which is never a good thing. He is accused of sacrificing children and having connections with Baal, and is to be avoided at all costs. So, you can see how they all overlap. They all have different names, and then all of a sudden they're, you say to yourself, wait a minute, how could, anyway. So, like, Yahweh is fighting with Baal. Anyway, this has connections with Baal, Moloch. Anyway, there's sun gods. So, Moloch, Mot, the god of death. Remember that? I think that's one of the first ones that we did. I think it was second one or third one we did. The Canaanite god of death. And this thing is like, remember, it's like they got this appetite that it has to constantly eat human souls or whatever. It never fills up. So eventually everybody gets eaten at some point. There's no avoiding it. The Mot, the god of death, when Baal paid him a visit, he was humiliated and forced to eat mud and do ridiculous things to himself and then die. Anath, his wife, the wife of Baal, was not having any of this. She stormed down to Mot and demanded full restoration. Mot replied, "Over my dead body." These are kind of funny. So she cut him up into small pieces and then ground him into powder, and she sprinkled over Baal, and he was back in business again. So he's in charge. He's a god of death. Remember Mot? We did do Mot one night. Yam. Actually, we did not do a whole night of Yam. Yam would be interesting. Yamu, Yah. The Canaanite sea god. So this is probably something that wasn't real popular out in the desert, but probably get those articles that we were going over. It told you the area where each god was, and so this is probably one that would be closer to the Mediterranean, I imagine. Stormy sea god with greater aspirations. He is a formidable deity who rules the ocean with his pet serpent Lotan, and lets loose with storms whenever he loses his temper, which is often. For it seems Yam is not content with being a mere god of the sea. He wants to be god of everything. It is funny. So see how you got all these gods intertwined? You got Baal, Yam, El. You got Kothar down there. Anyway. So as you can see, they're always overlapping. And that's why I say at the end, it's kind of, you got the Is, Ra, El. Isis, sun god, Ra, then El. You got Lotan, the Canaanite. This is a fabulous creature. Now, this is not really like a god, it's more like a creature. Lotan, Canaanite, fabulous creature, also known as Lawton and Lotan. The seven-headed, fire-breathing croco dragon sea monster. a primeval serpent creature for a fearsome aspect. Oops. His monstrous temper and appetite for destruction won him a few friends. He is a servant of Yam, the one that we just mentioned. Servant of Yam, the sea god. So this thing goes with that. After all, where would any self-respecting sea deity be without his trusty serpent assistant? The big bad of several legends, Lotan, came to represent an entire genre of fearsome monstrous creatures. Yes. So this is actually Leviathan. Spoiler. He made lives a misery for many, but eventually was chained up by Aneth. And that one I think we have covered. The Great Escape is never to be ruled out. However, legends of him could not be chained. He pops up in the Bible under the name Leviathan, and he is now more famous than ever. So this is the root. This is the the root or whatever. Well, hey, Galax, how you doing tonight? Good to see you. Hope you had a great day. So Lotan is really the seven-headed, fire-breathing croco dragon sea monster is the where the where the Leviathan came from. Myth of the Leviathan. Mosquitoes in here. Good to see you tonight, Galax. I hope you had a great day. Welcome. All right, next we have a mosquito in here. Trying to get him before he gets us tonight. Hamathite mythology as Ashima, Hamathite ruler god. Not going to really go into that one. Phoenician god. I think we just covered all of the. Anyway, it's got all. And here's another one. I could have sworn we did Beelzebub, the Lord of the Flies. Yeah, nay. Philistine mythology, Dagon, the god of the sea. We did that, but Beelzebub. I think we did all the Canaanite gods. Well, the ones I was going to go over. But I will just go over this one too. Beelzebub, the Philistine demon. I looks like they're all saying I am. Prince of Hell, Lord of the Flies, and Satan's Master in Chief. Hold on a second. Let me get my dog out from under me here. All right. And this is, eventually over time kind of spawns into Satan. He's the cause of more superstitions, dread than Satan himself, but people kind of, not Hasatan from the Bible, but you know what I'm saying? He's like people equate him to like the devil. I remember one year Kanye West and his wife and kids dressed up as Beelzebub and some other weird stuff. Talk about the building of Solomon's temple. Well, one night we went over and that we went through some information that the Freemasons said that they built it. The Freemasons are have taken credit for Solomon's temple. So I don't know. What do you mean by talk about building the temple? Anyway, that's all the Philistine, or that's all the Canaanite gods on here, I think. Let me just, yeah, we're done. Yes. Actually, okay. As far as Canaanite gods, got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So really, 11. I've changed how 11 Canaanite gods. He used demons, Dagon, including Beelzebub. Really? To build the temple? Oh, there's some crazy stuff there about building the temple. You know what's weird? Um, so, in the Old Testament, it says that it took 7 years to build the temple. And then it was 13 years by the time Solomon built all the living quarters for all his concubines and all his wives and stuff, whatever. But in the Gospel of John, it says it took 46 years to build this temple. Well, it's funny because the Old Testament has multiple scriptures where it said it took 7 years and 13, including the quarters or whatever. Imagine housing all them women and their children. Anyway, according to Babylon Talmud, really? He used demons? What, to design it or to build it? Worth reviewing again. Yeah, good to. Yeah, interesting discussion. Yeah, thanks, Grace. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, just there's the Old Testament is really kind of I think it's been stripped down to pretty much not much. I think there's probably a lot of information that that's not available to us, you know what I'm saying? But I do know that the Freemasons themselves do you know what is weird too? Anyway, the Freemasons do take credit for building Solomon's temple. We went over that one night on here. It was a couple of years ago. But you know what's weird? In the Gospels, and I can't remember which one is which, but in the 4 Gospels, there's one time in out of the 4 Gospels, one of the Gospels says that Jesus was a carpenter. At least his father was a carpenter, or Joseph was a carpenter. And another time, another gospel says that he was a mason, a layer of bricks. It's full of black magic connections, occult. It's the inspiration of Quranic lore. Oh, for the Quran and demonology, Solomon bound demons using the seal on a ring in the name of God, but it's black man. Oh, I believe that, gal. I believe that. Solomon, just think about it. He had all them wives, and he was putting up all them altars to all them different gods, and oh, absolutely. That FM legend is newer than the Talmud. Huh. I believe it. And then there's also reports of when the Romans destroyed the temple in 70 AD, they found some strange things in that temple. They found what was it, a horse's head? What was it, Grace, when the Romans invaded the temple, when they destroyed the temple in 70 AD? Like the last part they busted into was the temple and the holy of holies and all that, where nobody. Was it a horse's head? They were worshiping, I think, a horse's head or something. And it's really weird because they got some hieroglyphics where they got like Jesus on the cross with the horse's head. Isn't that weird? Anyway, but ass worship. That's what it was. It was ass worship. Yeah, I knew you'd remember. But yeah, there's reports from the Romans and these ancient writings that when they went into the Holy of Holies and they're in that temple, they were like shocked at what stuff was in there. The gig was up, man. And listen, if God let them destroy the temple, it wasn't that holy. Plus, it was a slaughterhouse. I mean, they were slaughtering so many animals. They had like a drainage trench for all the blood. Judaism is Saturn worship in disguise. Yeah, you know what? I believe that too, Galax. I believe that too. In fact, we just went over that like a week ago. How we just did with the star Rembrandt and all that other stuff. Yeah, we just connected that like a week or two ago. The cube of Saturn and all that. The donkey was making fun of Christ. Really think. Oh, was it? Yeah, yeah. I thought it was kind of a mocking thing. Early meme. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, we just made the connection with the Saturn worship and Judaism. Yes, we just did that like recently. Yeah, weird. Yeah, man. And you know what? It seems like I don't know. To me, the dot. Yeah. Um. To me, it seems like the prophecy of Daniel um was pretty much the destruction of the temple. He was prophesying. Some people say that Daniel was written much later and it wasn't even prophecy at all. It was already happened, or I don't know. There's just who can trust anything when it was written and who wrote it at this point. Um. Yeah, crazy. Yeah, we just did that. One of the oldest religious cartoons ever. A Roman soldier was making fun of a Christian soldier and drew a donkey on the cross. Oh, really? Was that the? We saw the picture. Was that picture? I'll pull it up. I'll show you in case people don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I don't know if this is the same one you're talking about, uh, but they did do the ass worship in the temple. I'm pretty sure. And, you know, just think about it. It's just like politicians and anything. How come nobody was allowed in that temple but the priest? I mean, oh, because we're all hurt. Yeah, you know what I mean? What are they hiding in there? It's just like, anytime you got something secret, yeah, that's not good. So let's see. Let me see if I can find it. It's pretty easy to find. I think it's like a hieroglyphic or something. Let's see. Should be pretty easy to find. Yeah, here it is. Pretty easy to find. They've so it's like a hieroglyphic or something. I'm not sure, but I'm not sure if this is what you're talking about. But so these are, and they've kind of gone over it with made it darker, so you can see the original, and then you can see when they've kind of Judaism is doomsday cult. The best thing to do is destroy is with rational thinking and oppose a third temple being built. Best thing to do is destroy with rational thinking and oppose the third temple being built. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I think I heard them saying that they're going to use the Wailing Wall as the starting point for their temple, like the starting wall. So here is that donkey thing on the cross. Here's the hieroglyphic. You can't. It's hard to see it, but they've kind of here. They've kind of darkened it. That's what it looks like. Not really sure what the writing says. Here's a clearer thing of it. But yeah. What's this say? Alexamenus worships his god Graffito, the end of 2nd century. So yeah, if this is the end of the 2nd century, is that the same one you're referring to, Galax? Is this the one you're referring to, Galax? This is kind of a cartoon thing. Anyway, that is kind of a kind of starts out looking like that. I'm not sure what that. I used to know what the writing said, but I can't remember anymore. Yes, by Roman soldiers. Oh yeah, yep, absolutely. It'd be by the Roman soldiers. Poking fun. How could God die this way? Was the point? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, the Roman soldiers. I mean, they had fun with it. Let's just say that they had fun with it. They not only destroyed the temple and tore it down, but they looted it. And they got so much gold and so many treasures out of there and the menorah and all that. There's all them famous pictures. To a Roman pagan, you couldn't kill the Son of God. Right. Yeah, for sure. Well, and to some Christians think that Jesus is God. So how could they kill God or the Son of God? Either way. Yeah, it didn't make sense, did it? Oops. So yeah, let's see. So actually, the guy who came in, who was the leader of the Romans when they toppled the temple? Anyway, it was like the king's son or something, wherever it was. They actually had a parade with like floats and everything, reenacting the taking over the temple when they knocked it down. Oops. From my perspective, Paul was working for Rome to undermine the Jewish movement, making an agenda. Yeah, I think so too. I totally agree with that. You know what it was? It was, I think it went from, if you can't beat them, join them, but then, and that's what they do. They join them from the inside and derail the movement. They still do that today. They still do the same thing today. Like if they can't stomp out the movement, then they join them from the inside and destroy it that way from the inside out. And so right, they had to. So I believe that Jesus, so I believe that he came to and I got it. This thing is really hard to control here. It's not. I believe that he came to expose the temple for being a money making machine and all that kind of stuff. And and it's the same thing today. Like, so just think about it. So today you have the same thing, but so this kind of was going on back then, where you have the Catholic Church. Well, yeah, I'm sorry. You have the Romans working hand in hand with the Jews, right? So the Jewish people are running the temple, making bank. Okay, they're millionaires in their days or whatever, billionaires like we have today, working hand in hand with the Roman government. And then Jesus comes and says, "Hey, you're just using this temple as a cash cow," and so they kill him, and they have to stomp out that movement, and that's why he was crucified, because there's like an insurrection. He went against, he was an uprising against the government, and yeah, so I believe that too. So Paul was sent in um, to infiltrate it and just kind of derail it and turn it into a just a whole new religion. And that's why all the Jews rejected Jesus. I mean, not Jesus. It was more of a Paul movement. Jesus movement really isn't what you see in a church today. You see the Paul movement. And Paul led it in a different direction, and that's why you have the if you just roll over, pay the government, pay your taxes. If they want to go into captivity, go into captivity. And right. And but anyway, yeah, so that's why. So when Paul had this movement, it was totally rejected by the Jews. They're not doing this. But guess whose Paul movement? It was everybody joined Paul's movement were the Gentiles. That's who hopped aboard Paul's train. The Jews weren't hopping on Paul's train. It was the Gentiles because they don't know the Old Testament. They don't know any better. They don't know what the rules are. It all sounds good to them. I think Paul understood Jewish xenophobia, so it wouldn't be attracted to Jewish militants. Yeah, for sure. Yep, for sure. I mean, it is, I guess they do. They wanted to, and I do think that they kind of, it was a way kind of, I think they did want to keep the Gentiles out of the Jewish religion, because they don't want Gentiles joining the Jewish religion, no more than they do today. The Jews have zero interest in recruiting any Gentiles. Zero. They still to this day. They don't need or want anybody to try to be Jewish. And if you do try to be Jewish, you're going to go through a lot of hoops and backgrounds, genealogy, and a bunch of money, and they probably still never make it. They're not there to recruit anybody. Yeah, Jesus came to reform Judaism and make it more like Eastern Dharma instead of legalism. That's why Jesus said he was sent to the lost sheep of Israel and them alone. Yeah, just thinking about how he said that. I just thinking about that like today. How he said, I came to the lost house of Israel. I didn't come for the Gentiles. I didn't come for the regular people, the non-Jews, you know what I mean? God bless Jesus for what he attempted and screw Paul for messing with his message. Right, because Jesus' message is long lost. It is lost. Jesus' message was lost a long time ago when Paul stepped in the picture. As a matter of fact, we have gone side by side with Paul and Jesus, and they're completely two different messages, two different everything. Paul did not teach anything. In fact, I mean, yeah, I go all night on Paul. I don't even get started on that because that's a whole nother thing for a whole nother night. In fact, I've been wanting to get back into the Paul thing again, get back into the New Testament and go over Paul again because he just came completely to teach a new religion, nothing even to do with Jesus. Yeah, crazy, huh? But yeah, I think they're all making good money, banking on all this temple stuff, and um, yeah. Anyway, crazy, huh? All right, well, I'll wrap it up and say good night. I'm gonna let's see, get back over here into the chat. So yeah, tomorrow is Friday. It's gonna be just an open chat. We're going to maybe play Bible Jeopardy or Bible Trivia, whatever. but it'll just be an open chat. We'll see how that goes. Usually Friday is always just an open chat, but I really like playing. I like playing Bible Jeopardy. A few rounds anyway. Good to stretch the brain and exercise it. Anyway, all right. Well, thanks for coming in. I'll say good night to Galax, good night to Grace, good night to D, and anybody else that came in. My thing's not scrolling. Oh, there it goes. D, and anybody else that came in, or if you're listening on the replay, thanks for listening on the replay. Was there 12? Did I go over 12 of those gods? I can't remember. Anyway. But yeah, so thanks for listening on the replay. If you're listening on the replay, yeah. Glad somebody else seems to get it. Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah, it was a total infiltration, really, to derail the whole movement, Jesus movement, and it worked. It didn't work, so it really kept it completely kept, like you said, xenophobia. It kept the Jews separate from the rest of the people. You know what I mean? So yeah, if you were not Jewish, they don't want you in there. And it was just the way it was. No conversions. Anyway. Try to play it great. Okay, well, I hope to see you guys tomorrow night. I hope you have a good rest of the evening wherever you are. I hope you're having a great day. Have an awesome Friday tomorrow, the 18th, and I hope to see you tomorrow night. Thanks for coming in, everybody. Love you all. Thanks for being here, friends, and good night.